Good speakers and presenters. So, Sergei Kornienko, freelance translator from Lvov, now from Lvov. He will talk a little about himself. So, I'm a freelance translator. I'm doing interpreting and translation, and I'm specialized at localization of mobile application. But sometimes, of course, I do the marketing texts and some touristic field. I would like to start my presentation with a short video clip. So, Josef is going to put it. Okay. So this is from famous Soviet movie Caucasian Captive. Hello. So speak louder, please. So everybody knows this quite iconic moment. So in this clip you can see the moment as Mr. Sakharov tells, speak up, yes. And very often we can listen to it. So for example, people may say okay Google, and after that you may speak everything, and Google will record it and recognize it. So, or say hey Siri, and Siri will find anything. So a piece of cake, as Mr. Bunsha from the same movie told. So we can hear it not from Google, from Siri, we can hear it from our colleagues. So let's start with a quote of Kevin Hensel quote. So because of the rain we can experience some technical issues. So this is just the end of my presentation. Slide number 3, please. Yes. Our colleague Kevin Hensel, quite a famous translator. He works from Russian. He's a famous author, and he says about when he discusses the possibility of raising productivity of the translator and how the machine translation can boost the productivity, he says very often people look not in the right side. So when discuss the machine translation means so equals to compare this with balloons. So in the beginning of the 20th century, everybody discussed balloons and the shape of the balloons, and it was discussed till Brothers Wright appeared. So, and everybody start talking, you should forget about balloons because now we have planes, airplanes, and the same in our situation. According to his words, the translators, especially technical ones who are very proficient in, so professional in their fields, they can solve this productivity issue, and they can reach the speed up to 1,000 words per hour. 1,000 words per hour, and they do it using the dictation method. They dictate the translation. So, and the future not with a combination with the CAT tools and machine translation, and the combination of dictation and using the special softwares and using the CAT tools as the supporting tools. I mean the translation memory, and The same idea is the author of the book, The Practical Guidelines by Jeffrey Samuelson Brown in 2009. In the 5th edition of his book, he wrote that the experienced translator can dictate up to 2,000 words per hour, but do it on the constant basis. For example, 6,000 words per day. It can be a difficult task. When I hear such figure, I think, wow. So let it be 1,000 words per hour, multiplied by 6, multiplied by 5, multiplied by 4. So can you calculate and apply in your rate? So it would be very nice volume. So dictation. How in fact we recognize the Russian speech, and I would like to tell you using my experience. From my experience, I might tell you that for today we can single out 3 basic systems which can be worth your attention. It can be Google, Siri, and Dragon systems. So the first question I would ask, which system is the best? So Dragon. So yes, of course we will stop on Dragon system, and we will try during our presentation to find out what fits the best to our purposes. So before we start this, we should take into account the quality of recognition depends not only of the software, it depends on the following factors. So it depends on your speech, diction, the speech speed, the speed of your computer, and the interferences. And what system to be the best, you should, of course, take into account the cooperation with your CAT tool. So if you do it manually, the results of your recording and recognitions, you will do it manually. You will spend lots of time for editing and proofreading. So let's start with Google. Let's characterize it. So you know that recently Google used this speech recognition system in Google Docs, and you have a microphone sign, and you can push it and dictate the text. And I think lots of people use the dictation function to do the note to the calendar, or to do the navigations, use the navigation system. But we are interested in this function, in this possibility to use in the integration with the CAT tool and our favorite CAT tools. So, and this question can be solved using the side programs, using the API or small intermediate programs. So for Russian language, as far as I know, there are two-side software applications. The first is Real Speaker, and the second is Pad. Real Speaker, it's a bit more complex in using because it requires webcam. It should be pointed at your mouth, but I tried to use it without camera, so the result was the same. And Real Speaker requires, so it's a paid application. So SpeechPad is free of charge with a limited functionality, but it will be enough. And let's consider SpeechPad. So this software is hosted on its own website. You can download it on your hard drive, and after that install it and use it as so integrated with your CAT tools, and you may use the dictation function. I'm speaking too long. Too much. Let's use it on practice. So, Yosef, can you demonstrate the video clip? Well, we may experience some problems with the sound because So it is worth seeing then, listening for quite a long time. And now you can see the example of you in this video clip. The example, Sergei is dictating the text in his real work flow. So he is dictating the translation. So I'm just dictating my translation, and it was for sake of the example. So you can see that from Google, so Google recognizes the text. After that we listen the specific sound. And after that, it means that the system is ready to insert this text, and after that we can edit it. And you can see on the right what is being dictating. In the right window, you can see it here. And I did it not for to visualize that, but also you can. There is a flaw, a drawback of the Google service, and this drawback that it can lag from time to time. So you may dictate it, but it turns out that program hangs, the software hangs, and you should check it in the window, in the right window here. So the question, please use microphone for questions. So you do the segment transition manually in your CAT tool. So with Google you need some tricks, but I will tell about them. So there is a big difference with the speech recognition system between Google and Siri. So unfortunately you cannot hear it well. Yusuf, can we repeat it, but it will be without sound. So when you are dictating, you hear the sound. This sound indicates that the speech was recognized, and it is ready to insert it. And if you are satisfied with all you dictated, you may paste it into the CAT tool. If you are not satisfied, you may do it again, and after that you may do it with other results. So for Google, the characteristic feature for Google, it understands only the well-established words like Google, Apple, I mean foreign words, and there is a big difficulty to teach Google how to recognize other words. And you can see that this system refuses to recognize the word laminating. It substitutes with dominating. So during the dictating you need to have the skill to formulate your thought and idea very quickly, but this is a feature of Google. If you spend a lot of time and if you make a pause, so it is you should do it again, because the sentence won't be completed. So it was just in thesis, in short, what I would like to tell you about the pros and cons of Google. Google does not understand the punctuation signs, and you will be lucky if he understands colon or semicolon. So comma and period, it is maximum he uses as a punctuation. As for speech pad, it hangs, but the developer have some settings, and you can change the intervals, and this program this software will not hang, but from my practical experience I can tell you that it doesn't work always. So for Google, it's good that you needn't push the keys. So they use Ctrl V to paste it, and you needn't do the manually. I mean, the starting of your dictation, and it's very important when you do the editing on the fly. So I have voiced the problem about speech pad. This is not speech pad. This is not a third-party software, but it's very. You may use also the third-party application topmost. It can fix the window on the right, and you can see the text which is recognized. Let's speak about the second system. This system is Apple Siri, and here you can see some other features. Siri cannot be switched off during 1 minute, but after that you need to push the button, you dictate, Siri listens to it, then you push another key to show that you are finished with, or it switched off automatically. And there is one more problem. If you made a mistake, or you just don't like your translation variant, you would like to change it, so this system will recognize both options, and both options will be inserted into your cat tool. It's clear that the question is solved when you have a Mac computer or iOS, but how to combine it with the Windows? So Siri uses iOS, and you need to solve the question to integrate it with Windows. To use this system with Siri, you can use it through some third-party programs. For example, My Echo. It costs $2, and you can download it from the Apple Store, and you can use it. And you can install it on Windows, and after that you may use Siri. You can see on the left the screenshot from iOS, and on the left from Windows. Before you're using Siri on your Apple, after that you launch My Echo in Apple iOS, then in Windows they establish the connection, and after that you may use it. You dictate it, you press the key, and after that you finish pressing the key. It's not convenient as Google does, but it works. Now let's treat the example. Let's consider the example. We won't hear the text, but you may see the process. Though we dictate the text on iPad. So here's
purposes, I decided not to switch off the speech pad in one window. In the bottommost window, you can see the segment. You will see the text inserted from Siri. You can see how both systems work. The one sentence is inserted immediately, and in another case it's recognized in pause. As I mentioned, the second way, I mean using Siri, has its own advantages and disadvantages. I can say that Siri is more convenient for longer sentences, because it doesn't turn off for a minute. And Google, you don't need to push any buttons. You can just erase one word and continue dictating, as you can see it right now on the screen. It's a pity we don't have sound now. Okay, well, there is another way to do this, of dictating. It's done by TeamViewer. There is no need to buy something. TeamViewer can be compatible with different platforms. In this case, you set your PC as a slave and another device as a master, and they work together, and you will see this scenario. Please, the third video. We can see the program working. It's very convenient to use for dictating short segments. Here I do not correct the mistakes purposely. You can see how you can see all the mistakes made by the system. I'm saying enter, and it recognizes as you can see, and so on and so forth. We see the program lagging. It does work, but not as good as we would like it to. When we use Siri, there is one important inconvenience. If we work with a tablet computer, the keyboard takes up a larger portion of the screen, and it's better to dictate and to edit on the desktop, which is quite logical. Since we don't hear the sounds, it's almost senseless to see. You can see how we use TeamViewer, and most of the screen is covered by the keyboard. The text is seen quite well, but the editing is not convenient in this scenario. The letters are quite small. If you have some eyesight problems, it's not convenient. The third system, Dragon, is a dictation system. If we talk about Western European languages, Dragon is beyond any competition. It has three vital advantages. You can teach it to understand you personally, your enunciation peculiarities. You can also teach it your term base, and it can be compatible with MemoQ. You can not only dictate, but also make it understand such commands as copy, paste, and so on. But unfortunately, for Russian language, we cannot use these options. For Russian, we have another application. You can see it on the left. You push this button, and you start dictating in the application. Okay, here it is. Everybody can see the button. You push on the mic and dictate, and it is typing the text. I have dictated this sentence. The main disadvantage of this program is that it works only with its own applications. You always need to copy and paste, copy and paste. I'd like to comment and add, besides Apple, we have Android platform. There is a swipe keyboard, which can do the same Dragon nuance. You can push mic in any application. It will recognize not only Russian, but Ukrainian language as well. Thank you, Václav. Ukrainian is also recognized here. I've written this before, so okay. Anyway, we are interested in accuracy of recognition of these systems. In this table, you can see which system hears and understands us better. The sentences, the letters are quite small. Maybe I've taken 136 words. They are from iPhone manual. Of course, for recognition systems, this text is absolutely native. The terms should be familiar for these systems. Having dictated the same text on 3 applications, we can see that Dragon is takes the first position, Google takes the second, and Siri is the third. Google has recognized 19%, iOS 23%, and the Dragon 12 mistakes. For practical purposes, if you decide to use voice recognition systems, I'd say that the best thing is to use Siri on iOS, because that system is hardware integrated. You dictate and it recognizes quite well. You use your cut tools as usual. But if you don't have such an opportunity, but you have another device which is compatible with iOS, you have 2 choices. The first, to use Dragon or Swipe on Android. But again, the convenience is that you need to cut and paste. You can use 2 applications, My Echo or TeamViewer. In the first case, you would have an inconvenience that the recognition is continuous, and if you use TeamViewer, the screen is quite small. And the third, if you don't have any Apple devices, your choice is quite narrow and simple. You have to use Google, and probably I would use SpeechPad. The third question, the third issue is how real is dictating speeding up work. I can tell you that I've never experienced 1,000 words per hour. My record is 4,000 words per day. Some of you may say that we can reach such speed without voice recognition systems. Of course, if you type well, quite fast, and you are familiar with the subject. For me personally, recognition is very interesting as technology. I like everything new. It gives some new things, some variety to my work. If you are sitting whole day, your back starts hurting. But if you are dictating, you can move while working. It adds some variety to work. It's very nice. I can say that dictating has some therapeutic effect. First of all, you add variety to work, and secondly, secondly, you have less fatigue because you can change your posture all the time. And for interpreters, it's also useful that you are working and improving your enunciation. If you, for example, dictate a word with bad enunciation, you will definitely need to improve it. So it gives you an opportunity to master your spoken language. Okay, what's the future of automatic speech recognition? There are 2 main trends. The first, the speech recognition systems will soon be very similar to machine translation. There are specialists who work on creating very similar systems. I don't know how to say it in Russian. When you have an original text, using line tools, you create translation memory. We assume that we can train engines. You dictate, and at the same time you are teaching these engines, and this will allow to train the machines. The second possible trend, the second potential development is the artificial intellect, when the systems will become very intelligent, using metatext and so on, huge calculation capacities, so that these would allow them to understand context, roughly speaking. On this basis, these systems would guess what you meant. This is a potential development of speech recognition systems. I've not mentioned this thing only due to reasons understandable for developers. Some engines refuse to recognize some words. I do need the sound. Maybe we would do it online later. It would be technically possible online later. Here I try to push the system to recognize some quite tricky words. Look how it happens. The system fails to understand and recognize these words. It keeps typing wrong words. At the end, I say the word тщательное is not recognizable. Okay, there are so-called freezing words. If you think that only Google does such things, you can look at other systems. It's interesting that they have problems with other words. Dragon has the problem with the word прорисовкой. When I repeat, it's better. The other three options are better. When we talk about Siri, because in the first case it writes down тщательная, then it gives another version of a wrong recognition, and the third variant is also wrong, but in another way. Okay, that's it about speech recognition. Now that you know how different systems work, you would probably be able to choose the more suitable one. If you are interested in my personal choice, I would maybe tell that to you during the break. I have a very small addition. First of all, two people in Europe work on speech recognition, Дракон from Portugal, and Kevin Losner, known to everybody, also from Portugal. There is the third approach to this topic. In the same MemoQ and Studio, you have monolithal review. You can take part of a document, you can dictate it in Word. If you know the first and the last sentences, you can take this portion of the text, is pasted automatically in MemoQ, and the blank portion does not need to be copy and pasted. The whole text will be pasted. Mayeko program allows us to send fragments of files to email. If some automatization will be added, it will be better, of course. It will be pasted in your cat. Read these guys, Kevin Losner, and it will be useful. with this repeated mistakes of recognition, our systems Musa in MimQ with Russian and the Ukrainian allow to have quite good results with Russian and Ukrainian. We have a unique opportunity to give an attendee such an opportunity.
Hi, Siri.
Hey there.
Did you enjoy this speech?
I'm sorry, Joseph. I'm afraid I can't answer that.
Вопрос у Максима.
Вопрос, Сережа.
One question. As far as I remember, at early stages, when we talked about the second or third versions of Dragon, they tried to make it like a magic tool. I remember we had some publications. I don't know what happens now. Some artificial intellect institution in Belarus cooperated with developers of Dragon with the prospect of improving quality in terms of Slavic languages. Do you know this? What's going on here in this field? No, I don't know. I know that the system is finely tuned for us, but the program stopped being developed quite long ago. It's not alive.